Well, hello, and welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, this particular week's blog, we're dealing with an event that took place towards the end of last week, and it involved somebody who had made a decision that they were going to register their AR 15s as assault rifles. Now, we've been discussing this whole controversial subject now for the last few weeks. And as we get closer to June 30th, this becomes more and more of an important thing. I've had a number of clients that have come to us and said, look, I want you to help me register my AR, which I think is the only intelligent way of going about doing this. I'm going to stress this again and again and again. If you are going to choose to go with the registration process and essentially have the state acknowledge that the firearm that you possess is an assault weapon, do it under the advice of counsel. This is extremely important, okay? And for a cautionary tale, we talk about what happened in Central California during this last few days. An individual who was in possession of firearms decided that he was going to go ahead and register his weapons as assault weapons. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, the little bit of information that I have about this particular individual, it would seem that we've got two separate things going on. Number one, he seems like he's a law-abiding citizen. He's a very successful business owner who owns, a farm up in Central California, and apparently also owns other farms in other states as well. He has a multitude of firearms. He's purchased some of his firearms at his out-of-state residences as well as here in California. This guy does not appear to be a gun guy per se. He also doesn't appear to have any sort of criminal intent. In fact, if anything, he was trying to register his weapons because he thought that was the right thing to do, or at least that's what it would appear to be. Unfortunately, as part of the registration process, you essentially have to waive your Fifth Amendment rights, implicate yourself, photograph the weapons, and send them up to DOJ. Well, these weapons evidently were per se illegal weapons, and that generated a law enforcement response that went to his house. He's now being indicted on 12 felony charges. This is, without question, going to be a life-changing event. In this particular instance, the smartest thing that he could have done would be to either go with a fixed magazine or to go featureless and to basically tell the state to go screw themselves. Now, I'm upset that this individual attempted to do this without advice of counsel. I'm upset that we found ourselves in a place where utilizing an attorney to go through a simple transaction is a necessary component. I'm furious with the state of California for setting up a scheme that was essentially designed, and we can see the inevitable conclusion of this, what was essentially designed as a method of entrapping law-abiding gun owners. There's not a gangbanger in the world. There's not a drug dealer in the world. There's not a criminal in the world that's going to sit there and say, oh, well, I clearly want to be compliant with California laws as they relate to assault weapons, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through this registration process. That makes absolutely no sense at all. And yet, the only people that would actually go through this process are, by definition, law-abiding citizens, and now these law-abiding citizens are going to wind up having felony convictions. It's disgusting. It's antithetical to who we are as a people. And quite candidly, the people that have promulgated this methodology, if nothing else, they're doing nothing to actually bolster the rule of law in the United States, especially in California. Quite the contrary. They're jeopardizing the rule of law. As far as I'm concerned, their actions in and of themselves are criminal. In any event, I hope you read the blog. I hope you understand the methodology behind the reasoning of why I decided to write this blog. And of course, if you have any questions or any concerns, you can always email me at stephen@artemishq.com. Train constantly, train consistently, and train with purpose. And above all else, stay safe. Until next week, take care.